Welcome back to another episode of Factory Digitalization. Today we are going to talk what are the biggest hidden problems in manufacturing that people ignore the most. Indrek, what is your experience where manufacturer managers look first?
Having led Global Reader for the past 10 plus years, there are some I would say similarities where factory managers are looking to. So I would say that if you go to most of the manufacturer managers, actually, if you go to them and ask, hey, where can you what can you do to make your factory more efficient? So the first thing they are going to tell you is that I need to get the new machine, or we need to automate something. So I don't know. Well, even if we talk about the digitalization, if we have a bad process, then if we digitalize it, we have a bad digitalized process. That's it. So it's the same. If you buy a faster machine or you automate something, but if your processes are bad, then you have a bad automated process, or you have a bad fast machine in the end. So I would say that there's so many small hidden things in the factory where you can actually improve. So it's mostly done through people or processes, and if you implement those changes, then you can always get a huge gain. I mean, let's say I'll bring the first example. I know that you want to have a lot of like examples in this podcast, so I'll bring you the first one. So we had a customer who was just implemented the Global Reader in their factory. They started to monitor the lines, and there was like every day they started to see a pattern. In the evening, machine stopped for 1 hour before the shift end. Okay, in the morning there was a second shift. The morning started, then again 1 hour of stop time. So 2 hours of time was lost during the day already. One shift starting, one shift ending. So since it was a pattern, they went to a evening shift. So they asked, hey, the last hour, what are you doing over here, right? So basically, what do you have a guess? What was the answer?
I don't know. Usually they clean.
Okay, so in the end of the shift, the answer was that they were cleaning. So next morning, they went to the next shift, and I have to remind you, there was no night shift over there. So in the morning, they went to the shift and asked, "Hey, what are you doing?" So do you have now a idea what was said?
Playing cards, I don't know.
So actually, it was cleaning again.
Why?
So basically, it was like in the evening, 1 hour they were cleaning, and in the morning they were cleaning for 1 hour. So this means that once they realized this, they actually changed the process. So in the evening shift, they gave the approval to have a cleaning time of half an hour, but it also included a setup. So one guy was cleaning and the other one was setting up the machine. So basically, once the morning shift came, they could just start the machine and start working. So basically, in the end, every day they got hour and a half back to actually produce something. So if you have like 5 days, so it's what, 7.5 hours in 1 week,
Almost one working day.
30 days, 30 hours, sorry, 30 hours in 1 month. So I would say that if you usually I don't know, if your production time costs approximately 100 hours, 100 euros per hour, then it was like, well, I would say 3,000 euros approximately was saved per month. And these are the little things we can do to change factories more efficient.
And this was only for one manufacturing line. And
Yeah,
probably they were similar kind of issues in other lines as well.
exactly. This is just an example.
Yeah. So, well, actually, one of the examples came up in mind that it was metal company where they wanted to buy a new machinery. That the production need was raised and they weren't keeping up the demand. And they thought, okay, let's buy a new machinery and have a new guys who will start working on there. But somehow, by coincidence or I don't know, they installed Global Reader and they noticed that, hey, the machinery is running like 45% of availability. Like half of the time machine is stopped. So why we have to buy a new machinery, but we can use the already existing machinery, but be more efficient. So they figured out where the inefficiency were. They reduced 30% of the interruptions, and they didn't have to buy 50, 60,000 euros of machinery.
I think there's a lot of examples where no new machinery was actually needed. And that was a funny story. Again, the same thing, buying a new machine. And then it was like the manager of the company tried to convince supervisory board that, hey, we need this machine, new machine. This is not efficient, working too slow. And well, they started the supervisory meeting by going through the factory. The machine wasn't running. And after the supervisory meeting, supervisory board meeting, like in 3 or 4 hours later, they went back to the factory. The machine was still stopped. So, do you think they got an approval to buy a new machine?
I wouldn't. What for?
Exactly. So, I mean, basically, well, the examples are different, and I would say that there's this what we said at the moment was about machinery, but it's I would say also the processes of people. So again, going back to the efficiencies. So let's say one thing is that you, as I explained, there's a interruption in the morning and in the evening shift, right? But another thing is that well, your machine should be running from basically from morning to lunch break. Of course, we can never have the machine work 100% of the time and with 100% of performance. So and then 100% of quality. There will be issues, but we need to reduce them as much as possible. So what this means is that very simple things again. So if the people in the factory on the machine, let's say they have a lunch break at 11, and they stop the machine 10 minutes before going to lunch, and then 10 minutes afterwards, and the lunch itself is actually 30 minutes. So you've lost altogether. The machine has been stopped for 50 minutes. So it's not the 30 minutes. That is a lunch time. So if we have those like problems, when we have found those problems in the processes, and then we can train the people how to work with the machine. There might be very clear and understandable reasons sometimes, but sometimes maybe it's just I want to have a smoke when you shouldn't.
Yeah, I've seen it. So all of these examples, I can see one common thing that they didn't act before measuring it.
I would agree because as humans, we don't sometimes notice it. We don't notice these problems, and the reason is very simple. So again, an example. So there was a factory manager who was using Global Reader, or actually they started to, and well, he was going around in the factory, and there was he saw there's a stop on a machine, yeah, and that guy was went to a operator on the machine asking, hey, how long has the machine been stopped? Yeah, it's like, I don't know, 10 minutes maybe, something like that. And the guy took out his phone, looked at the machine, said, hey, yeah, but something is wrong over here. This machine has been stopped for 1 hour. And it's very, very common to people because first of all, it's in our nature that we want to actually improve or we want to fix things ourselves. So if you start to fix something, you actually you lose the sense of time. So basically, in your mind, maybe there's 10 minutes that has been gone, but actually it's 1 hour. So one thing is that, hey, you have a 10-minute machine has been stopped for 10-15 minutes. Um, when the operator should escalate the problem already, they want to fix it. But if you have a tool for that actually notifies the next level of people, then you can actually react faster to the problems that are over there. Already you start to reduce the downtime. And maybe the other thing is that the noticing part is that it's not visible to everybody. So I mean, if you think about it, if you have a live screen up and running somewhere saying, hey, this machine has been stopped and this hasn't, so whoever is going around in the factory can already start the question, hey, why is this machine stopped? Maybe somebody needs help. Maybe there's some sort of issue that we need to solve. Maybe we need to already change the plan, production plan.
So, but there's another reasons as well that why people, maybe even if the screens are up, they can see the numbers but they don't act. That means that there's maybe cultural issues or I don't know, personal issues that they don't want to escalate things, or maybe they feel that if I tell that, hey, this operator is like struggling already 30 minutes on this machine, maybe I feel that he will get in trouble.
I would say that any change in a company, well, part of it is a cultural change. So if you start to kind of let's talk about monitoring first of all. Then if you start to get the data that has kind of there are no emotions in data. So if you start to get that the information about how your machines are working, then I would say that uh, since this is a fact, somebody needs to react in the end. Yeah, well, I would say that there are many cases where just starting to monitor a production line, the efficiency or well, actually availability goes up 10-15% because everybody sees how the machine works and nobody wants to bring home a bad result.
So maybe it's like that operator, we are changing the operator feeling that machine is broken or not working, or the feeling that it takes less time to fix the things, to actual facts, what brings up the efficiency.
And we are creating visibility, so it's more understandable to everybody what's happening on the shop floor.
So to summarize, if you measure production lines, you can see that if the machine is working or not. You can act on it. That hey, you can go to ask to the operator and ask, hi, hey, you stopped like 30 minutes in that time. What was the cause? Is there any better ways how to get this information from the operators to actual data to analyze?
It's very common actually that once we have the data, then you can't always go to the factory line saying, hey, what was happening over there, and if you start to go there, then you need to write something down somewhere. And then you need to put it, I don't know, Excel or some sort of a system, and then you start to analyze it. So it's much more reasonable to have a tool that actually helps your operator insert interruption reasons. So you will actually know what was the reason for this kind of stop or that kind of stop. So this helps you create improvement plans. Sometimes you have issues that last for a while. Those you usually know. But having like 10-15 minute stops on a machine and what was the cause of it, you usually don't know. So this is something that we can help find out, and there's again a lot of ways how to deal with those. So you can actually have these interruption reasons. Well, let's have an example of let's say technical reason. Yeah. So there's
always some technical reasons.
there's always some technical reasons. So you can actually have okay. So we have technical reasons every day. I don't know, 3 times worth of 15 minutes. The next day 4 times. The other, 10, whatever. So you can start to go deeper. So what were those technical reasons? Yeah. So what were the issues? You can start to make improvement plans. How to make the machine better. And that's one of the ways. Or the other, let's say you have a machine that your operators should set up in like 20 minutes, yeah. But you take an average that in 1 week, the average setup time is 36 minutes. So there's a huge gap already. So if we want to exercise SMED as a tool, then basically we are way off. We are going the other way than we should. So there's a lot of examples where we can actually have the interruption reasons and get the understanding where we should we actually put our focus to. What should we fix?
Yeah, because your example at the moment, each time operator is average change the product or makes the setup time, the company loses 16 minutes of work time than he planned or they planned. That results that the whole plan of what you put together, that by the end of the week I have this amount of products, hence that the plan was not fulfilled just because we didn't have time.
Yeah, so I mean, if they had 10 setups that should have taken 200 minutes, it actually took 360 minutes. So there's a huge difference. I agree. But also, what we can take a look at is the fact that people are doing different kinds of are solving different kinds of interruptions differently. So I would say that we are also fiddling around with some tools to understand who has the best practice for having a setup or creating a setup or doing a setup. So we are or changing some knives on the machine or producing the in a best performance or something like that. So basically, these interruption reasons also give us the opportunity to manage people. So we can actually make improvement plans also for people. So we want to improve your setup time. We want to help you improve your exchange of material. We want to help you fix machine problems faster. So basically, this is something that this information can also be used for.
Basically, this info helps to standardize the work.
Exactly.
Standardize the practices, how to do this thing, that one thing or another, that it will reduce the gap between the, let's say, the fastest operator and the slowest one. The slowest one will never do it as fast as the fastest one is doing, but he or she can get really close to.
Well, I'm an optimist, so I would say that we at least should have a plan that using the resources that we have, machinery and the people that are working with us, we should get the best out of them first, and then we can start to buy new machines.
Yeah, I agree that. If you can relate to any of these examples, you are really welcome to contact Global or leave a note into comments. See you on the next time.